so excited. Okay, so this is class 3, right, of our Get Rich as Fuck series. And this one is called Break Out of Prison, right? So obviously prison, yeah, I'm getting really aggressive these days. Everything was all nice and sweet about your goals and your trophies. And, you know, last class was like happiness. Like, how do we get happy, right? And then we talked a lot about the shit we didn't like too. The reason why I chose the topic of break out of prison for like people who are like watching at home and people who are here and then, you know, who are even just listening is I can only get so far on my own, right? By being positive and by being happy. And so even though for some of us, we don't feel like we're in prison, like take the time to assess tonight on whether maybe it's not prison, but it's something that's holding you back and preventing you from getting where you want to get to, right? So we have some new people, so I'm going to kind of go through the series of what we've been doing the past couple classes and then get some feedback. So the first class that we did, we walked through trophies, right? Establishing the concept of trophies, of the fact that if you get up on time or you take your kids to school without murdering both of them in the car, or you know, make it through a day doing something that you want. I give you the example of like, if I eat breakfast and lunch, I'm a fucking rock star, right? Like, I forget, I don't do it. So if I do it, because that's one of my goals, like that's one of my trophies that I celebrate. And the concept of the fact that we don't celebrate ourselves enough. So I'm gonna go out in the world and I'm gonna go try to get a job, right? And I'm gonna tell somebody, and we were talking before about negotiating, right? I'm gonna negotiate my rates with someone, but the whole time I'm going, I'm a piece of shit, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, oh yeah, yesterday I fucked that up, I haven't done anything right today, right? How are you gonna stand in front of a person and be like, I'm worth this, when you don't feel it yourself? So the whole process of trophies is you building yourself up to a place to where you think, right? You think you're worth what it is that you want in your life. So I heard somebody say the other day, like if you wanna be a $10,000 a month earner, you have to be a $10,000 a month person, right? You can't be a $2,000 a month person and go out there and say, I'm gonna earn 10 grand, or tell someone it's 10 grand a month, right? It doesn't work that way. It's not congruent, and your body and you will reject it every time, and you won't get the jobs, right? You'll be like, I don't understand why I'm not getting the jobs. So it's like, there's been people sometimes where I'm like, you have to either build yourself up or you gotta lower your rates until you get to a place to where you believe that you're worth the $10 more than what it was you were charging the last job that you had, right? So this concept of trophies has the most to do with the idea of you, right? I'm great, because I think that what happens is we end up in a cycle where we get positive, and then we think, you know, and something good happens, because it does. Like 100%, you get positive, you start speaking to yourself in a different language, like good things start to happen. But then something will come up and it will fucking derail you, and next thing you know, and you're like sitting there eating a tub of ice cream. That is horrible. I'm so awful. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe, right? And then you're like, and then now what cycle are you in? Right? Now you're in the eating a tub of ice cream every night cycle while beating the shit out of yourself, right? And it's like, and then to get out of it, right? Then you gotta climb back out of the fucking hole by being so positive every day, which is impossible, right? So the trophies, that's a big concept. Big, big, big thing to adopt. Number 2, the thing that we went over, right, was being happy. Like, the only way you can be happy is to figure out what the fuck makes you happy. Like, we run around all the time and like, well, my mom told me that pink was gonna make me happy. It's like, no, I don't fucking, pink maybe doesn't make you happy, right? Maybe black makes you happy. But you deciding for yourself, like what makes you happy? Picking my daughter up from school makes me happy, right? Making dinner for people makes me happy. Those are things I'm not gonna give up. Being with my friends, being with my family, those all make me happy. And I lived my whole life thinking that like, you're not supposed to be doing that because you're supposed to be fucking working all the time, right? But it's like, I don't have the energy to go work like I need to work and do the things that I need to do to make money, right? To get rich as fuck, if I'm not happy. So we also went over the other part of the concept of being happy, which is know what makes you unhappy. So, driving, right? Figuring out what I'm going to eat, right? We all have all of these things that make us unhappy, right? If I have to be in charge of anything, I am not happy, right? I'll help, when I used to go and do like New York Fashion Week or go to like do Sydney Fashion Week, I would go and I literally would be the best assistant anybody's ever met. I'm like, could you want a coffee? Can I get you anything? I'll hold pens. Like that was just all I wanted to do. I don't want to be in charge of like making sure everything got done the way it was. I just wanted to be a help, right? So those concepts in and of itself of know what makes you happy and know what makes you unhappy allow you to do what? Be happy, right? That you can arrange your whole fucking life around, I will do that every day and I will never, ever, ever do that. And I know that now, right? So I'm able to go through my day and when someone says to me, hey Kiara, what do you want to eat? I'm like, don't talk to me about it. You'll literally make me unhappy. Just pick me up anything. I don't care what it is. Just pick it up, as long as it's not chicken. Pick it up and I'll eat it, right? But I know that about myself. Or I get in a situation where I have an offer for a job and I just know that it happens to be that personality of that kind of person that I can't work with. It will make me unhappy. So what do? I don't take the job. So I don't even put myself in situations where I'm going to be unhappy. So, right, trophies, knowing what makes you happy, knowing what makes you unhappy, and then what was the other one that we went over? Right, I'm gonna look at my notes, right? So the fourth thing was, who the fuck are you doing this for?
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for your mom? Are you doing it for all the people who are around you, your neighbors, right? Who is it? Because at the end of the day, like, you're gonna get shit if you go out there and you work, right? And you have the right mindset, you're gonna get it. But at the end of it, when you get it, don't you want it to be something that you wanted to get? You know, there's nothing worse than spending a bunch of time getting something and thinking that you're gonna like make somebody proud of you and you presenting it to them like, look at this thing I got. And they're like, so? I'm like, fuck, I spent all that time trying to make you happy and you can't be made happy, right? So who are you doing it for? When you write something down on your goal list and you go, okay, I want a car, right? Like Kazumi, like when you like, she won her car, she did it for her. Like she was like, I want the car and I'm inside. And she's like, I built this car and I'm the only one that has it. And you know, it's like, that's for her. She loves it. She didn't do it for somebody else. And so being really conscientious of who you're doing this for, right? Okay, so the concept of breaking out of prison. Why do you think that we're imprisoned? Anybody have like a theory on this? Because society, yeah?
Insecurity.
Because you're trapped, right?
And so, I think we're all told what we're supposed to be. And
Yes.
so we put ourselves in a box.
Yes.
People's expectation, try to be someone.
Yes.
Yourself.
Bad.
Yeah.
You're
Because
doing
what are we
somebody else.
taught? I mean, we're taught from the time we're a kid, make them happy. Be good and they'll like you. You know, do what your teacher tells you to. You know, all these things and all these rules. So for those of you who were here, who've been doing this, right? 30, 60, 90 days based on whenever people have come in, or even people who are new, right? You have a little booklet. First page of the booklet. There's a question. Or second page, I guess. First page is you're a badass. Right? So first question is, how do you feel so far? So for anybody that's been doing this, anybody who's, you know, been working like the 30-day plans, or people who are new, right? How do you feel so far? For you guys who are new, like, how do you feel right now? So maybe different than you did this morning, maybe not different, maybe just where you are in your life. How do you feel? And write it down. I think that one of the things that we don't take enough time to acknowledge is kind of like where we are right now, right? Who we are right now, how we're feeling, what that encompasses. Are we feeling like I'm doing an exceptional job? Are we feeling like I'm a little bit of a failure? Am I, you know? Right? Because the key is that, you know, getting rich as fuck is about becoming the most powerful version of yourself. And you can't be the most powerful version of yourself if you aren't your own best friend. If you're not in love with yourself. You know, one of the things that we do is we abuse ourselves, right? We're like, you're horrible, you suck at that, you're not gonna be ever any good, why did you do that like that? Look at how you look, what's wrong with you? Why would you wear that today? You know? I mean, and it's just like on and on and on and on, right? And so to me, I believe that we've done a number on ourselves and we've created a prison right here, right? This is the prison. That's where you're trapped, because you're trapped. Whoever the fuck is talking to you in there has got you in jail. You know, and you hear a lot of stuff about like, oh, breaking the glass ceiling and jail and stuff. It's like, everybody I know is like in an 8x8 cell. They don't even know where the fuck the glass ceiling is, right? They're like, I can't even open the door. Like, so you telling me like, go to, you know, the glass ceiling thing, they're like, I don't even know. What is that? I'm stuck, right? Because who has to sit with this every single day? You do, right? So if I have a meeting with you and I'm like, you're fucking awesome and your work that you do is phenomenal and you should be charging more and you should be putting yourself out there, and you're going, no, 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 right? Doesn't have anything to do with me, whether you believe me or not, right? Whether you think I'm authentic or you value my opinion, it's you. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere and you're gonna be completely fucking trapped. And that's where we are. Like, so many people I run into, I have to do so many exercises to get them out of being trapped, right? Okay. So, next page. Right? So we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this whole like idea of prison and like how everybody got there. So question number 2, right? Do you have any regrets? Do you have any failures? Do you have any setbacks? And I know that some of you guys are like, fuck. Like, I liked it better when she was like telling me to say all the good things about myself. Like all the happiness and the trophies and like how to get happy. Right? But to me, we can set you up with the best success plan. We can get that thing ironed out to the detail of how you're gonna make money, of how you're gonna be happy, of how you're gonna take care of yourself. You're gonna do all these great things, right? But at the end of the day, like, this shit will take you out faster than anything else, right? You're climbing that ladder, all you have to do is think about one of these things and it's like, boom, and it drops you. And this is the reason why people say, I was doing really well, and then I had a, right? And then it all went away. I used to make money and now I don't. Or, yeah, I was going there and I don't know what happened, right? It's these things. It's the things that you, in your mind, are like, I failed at that. You know, it's the regrets you have where like, I didn't take that job, or I acted like an asshole, or I, you know, treated that situation unfairly, whatever it is. Like, we hold all that shit. We don't let go of any of it. And we judge ourselves, right? So take a minute, write down some of those things. Because this is the bullshit that's being used as ammunition against you. Every time you say, I'm amazing, every time you say, I'm gonna go out and get that for myself, this is the ammunition that's against you. But, oh, do you remember the last time that we tried to do that and then we didn't and we failed, and remember everybody laughed at us? Like, no one fucking laughed at you, by the way. Like, you thought, right? Like, this is what we do to ourselves. We don't try. You get totally fucking exhausted by this. Like, I know people that literally are unable to do any kind of forward movement because they're so paralyzed by the fear that all of these things will happen to them again. Like they're still living in every fuck up that they ever had. That's scary. You know, so to even get someone to a place where they'll take action is challenging for them, right? So write that down, write it down. Don't show anyone, I'm not gonna ask you to fucking share. Cover your paper, like keep it to yourself, right? Because these things to me, you know, when someone asked me this question before about like what my biggest fear was, I couldn't write it down. Like I was like hysterically crying. I was so fucking scared of it, right? Of my failures, of the things that like I was scared of happening again. And I almost got up and laughed. I was like, no, right? But I was being really, really honest. And it's those things, right, that were keeping me from having anything good in my life. Because every time I would take a step forward, it would be like, and boom, right? Should take you out. And the next thing you know, right? Evening with the ice cream, fucking, right? Or 3 bottles of rosé, whatever, whichever one works.
Both.
Yeah, or both, right? So write them down. Okay, so now everybody have their list? A few things, a couple things that are on there? Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to underline anything that pops up more than once a month. So anything that you have, that you're doing, or that you're thinking of, right, that comes in for you more than once a month. Okay. Second thing, right? I want you to circle every single one of those ones that you wrote down that are helpful. Right? Just circle it, the ones that are helpful, that are helping you get where you want to get to in life. Just put a circle around it. Right? Anyone that like the things that are helping you achieve your goals, that are making your life fucking better, pushing you along. Right? Okay, so exercise. Who got 5 that they circled? Anybody? 3? 2? No? 1? Anybody circle 1 that's like helpful?
I had 1, but it was like a positive. It's like, oh, I should have done this more, not to like.
Okay, right? But think about this. Like, think about this. No one has anything on this list of failures, regrets, setbacks, shit you did wrong, ways you behaved, whatever, that's fucking helpful. So why do you keep dragging it around? Right? We drag this around as if it's like our, you know, Louis Vuitton bag that we spent $20,000 on that's like our prized possession. Or like we won't let go. And there's people, I guarantee you, if you look at your list, like you've been dragging that shit around for years with you, right? And it's not helpful, and it's heavy, right? It's not fun, it's not your friend. So this is a little bit serious tonight, right? It's like not so much fun. So usually as Ryan's not laughing. Diving into yourself is never fun. But I want you to think about it this way. If this isn't helpful, right? If the things that you have on your list are not helpful, why are they still in your pocket, right? Why are they still in your brain? The way I look at it is this. Everybody has a radio on in their head. Everybody has a TV, radio, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's screaming at you all the time. And for a lot of us, it's screaming this bullshit at us all the time, right? It's not screaming, yay, Jake, go do it, you're so good, right? It's like, fuck. So every time you go after something, that next voice that pops up is this going, yeah, but remember the last time? Remember that time when you quit? Remember the time when you, right? And whatever that voice says is going to dictate whether or not you're going to take that next action step or not. So how many people have decided that they're going to do something? They had a goal, they even wrote it down, right? And didn't do it. Okay, right? All of us, everybody. Okay, why didn't you do it?
That little fucking voice.
Right? Because something immediately after you said you were gonna do it popped up and was like, no, no, you're not. No, right? So the last class we had, I said that for me, you will never ever hear me say I'm gonna go to the gym, right? Never, I'm never gonna fucking say it because it's most likely never gonna fucking happen, right? And I don't wanna be the kind of person that's giving the voice ammunition on the shit I'm gonna do that's really important, right? Because it doesn't distinguish. It only just says you failed. Remember that you were gonna go to the gym and become a fitness model and like you didn't do that. You didn't do any of it. You're such a loser, right? I don't need that kind of shit going on in my head. Like I have some important stuff that I wanna do. I need the voice inside my head being like, when I'm like, you know, I think I wanna go to Mars, right? Think about Elon Musk. Fucking wow, right? That guy. Like, I wanna go to Mars. Okay, let's do it, right? That's the voice. His voice literally afterwards is like, okay, let's do it. Tomorrow? Are we gonna do it tomorrow? Right, there is no, he doesn't have that piece that goes, oh. No, you remember those like 5 Teslas that like caught on fire? We probably shouldn't do anything else anymore. Right, he doesn't have that. So why? Why do some people not have it and why do some people have it? Right? I think that's totally fascinating. How some of us are stuck in the prison of our own minds and our own limitations and all the shit we did wrong, and other people just don't even fucking have it. So we're gonna go over now, right? How you get rid of it. How you get rid of all that stuff. Because the one thing that I learned years and years ago, going, 960-second session of therapy, was that you can't ever, can't change the past, right? Things have happened. They just have. Doesn't matter how much crying you want to do, doesn't matter how much saying sorry you're gonna want to do, like it just happened. And it is what it is, right? But we can change what? The way that we feel about it in the future, right? In the now, right now. The way that we feel about it. So we're gonna go through a little process that's called reframing, right? So look at your list. Just choose one of them that's particularly unhelpful, right? Of the things. And we're gonna reframe it. Does everybody have one? Okay, cool. All right, so let me explain to you how reframing works. So, a few years ago, I started my second company. And I spent a shitload of money, a ton of time, and you guys have heard me tell the story, like when I launched my company, I was working 20 hours a day. Like I would sleep for like 4 hours on the phone with China, like that, conference calls every night. And, a ton of time. I wasn't with my family. I, compromised my health. All these things. I started this company, and ultimately a couple years and I closed it, right? I closed it because it was a complete fucking nightmare, right? And it had everything that I hated. All the shit that I'm like, I don't want to ever do, this company had. All of it. Every single piece, right? And all the stuff I love, it didn't have any of it, right? Wasn't a luxury good, didn't have anything to do with working with people, just like all the stuff that brings me joy, none of it. And when I closed my company, like, how do you think that failure sat with me? Right? It fucked me up so badly. I was like, I will never do another venture, ever. I'm done, right? Right? This thing, like, no, hell no. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not helping people. I'm not gonna have a business ever again. I don't want to do any of that. Right? It messed me up. And it made me feel like, one, I have no business helping other people with their businesses because look at how completely retarded I was at that. Right? And that went on for a while where I was just like really disappointed in myself and scared. It scared the shit out of me. That like I could get myself into that kind of situation voluntarily, right? I voluntarily put myself in a situation where I was unhappy every day. and then continued to do it every day, right? Like that was scary. I was like, wow, you are fucked up. You must be a masochist. Like you just love making yourself miserable, right? No concern for your own well-being. And for a while, like that was where I sat. Until when?
Broke out of prison.
Right? I reframed it. So the money I spent, there's no way on earth I could have gotten an MBA, gone to Harvard Business School, done anything, and gotten a better education than I got. Right? I now know everything about manufacturing and sales and, right? Sales channels and exactly what you have to do if you want to get product into QVC and CVS and Sephora, right? Like everything. How you manufacture things, how you source them. Like there's no way I could have gotten that education for that amount of money that I spent, right? The time, like over the course of that time running that business, I became an amazing woman, right? I became a much better mother. I became a much better friend because I figured out what it is I want. Like that taught me what it is I want and who I want to be. It taught me who to get into business with and who not to go anywhere fucking near, right? And it also taught me like, do I want to work that much? You know, I have a daughter who's 13 now, almost 14. Like, do I want to miss all this? Or can my aspirations of being a person who's like always gone wait until she's gone? Right? This thing that to me was my biggest failure that I had had in my life to date is now like my proudest accomplishment. Right? Like it is the thing that I am like, it gives me so much strength because I'm like, look at that, I did that, I fucking failed miserably and I'm still happy. You know, I had a crazy situation happen and left that, went and spoke to a group of people about how to be happy. And I should have been like miserable, losing my shit, at home crying, right? Nope, wasn't. Left, handled my shit. And so for me, it wasn't a situation, right? It's how was I thinking about it? Like, what was my opinion about that thing? You know? I've talked to you guys all about the fact, like, I was born in a trailer park. Like, I was born in the trailer park, in the trailer, in a chair. Like, my mom didn't want to go somewhere to have a child. She wanted to have it there, right? And for the longest time growing up, I was like, it was such a, that to me meant that I was fractured, right? It meant that I wasn't worth something. It was like, oh, you're just always gonna be that girl who like was born in the trailer park and like, so no matter what I did moving to LA, being on private planes, traveling around with people, being on the biggest yachts in the world, like none of that fucking at all mattered. You know, and I've told the story before where I'm on this, you know, G6 with Barbara Streisand. We're flying from doing the inside the actor studio in New York to Oprah, like to Oprah, where I was like met Oprah and was with Oprah, right? Where she was gonna sing. Not to mention I was on the fucking plane with Barbara Streisand, right? And I'm literally, the lady, the stewardess comes around and she's like, do you want a blanket? And in my brain was like, you don't even fucking deserve to be here, let alone to have a blanket. Like that blanket is like, how expensive is that, right? Like I was just so unworthy because of who I thought I was. And now, like, I tell the story about being in trailer park all the time because I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I went from there to here. Like, that's a big goddamn deal. You know? I must have done something right if I went from there to here, right? I'm standing in a salon, which is insanely beautiful, in one of the most, you know, affluent towns in the entire world, right? Must have done something right. But it was how I was framing it, right? I was framing it as my deficit. I was framing it that because that's who I was or where I came from, there was something wrong with me. Instead of framing it as, look at where you are now, and because of where you came from, you've actually gone twice as far as everyone else, right? Someone who grew up over there, down the street, has gone half as far as I have.
Literally half a block.
Yes, literally they've only gone half a block and I've gone a lot of miles, right? So thinking about that, so reframing it, right? So take a few minutes, look at one of your things, and think about how you can reframe it. The one that's the most particularly unhelpful how can you think about that differently? What's the lesson that you can get out of it, right? What's the good that's happened to you in your life since then? Because you have that knowledge, because you went through that. And if you're watching this at home or you're like tuning in after like watching the video, like sit down, take the time. You know, this is a really important exercise in you learning how to control your mind rather than having your mind control you, right? If you're in charge of your mind, are you in prison? No. If your mind is in charge of you, are you in prison? Yes. Right? It's telling you how to think about things, what time to get up, when you get to go outside or not. And here's the crazy thing about it. Like, you're gonna have stuff on your list. It's not even your fucking idea. Like, it's not even things you did. It's just stuff that you have guilt from, like something that somebody else gave you the guilt of. Right? My mom grew up really, really poor. And I had this guilt of like, oh my God, like we're not gonna have anything because like because we're just poor people. I was like, that's not even my reality. Why am I walking around with that? You know, that was like this huge challenge that I had, was to get myself into the place of being like the $10,000 person, right? Rather than the $2,000 person. Because I guarantee you, like, you can positivity your ass all the way to the fucking, like, yoga studio down the street and the meditation thing and people, but it's like, unless you get rid of this shit, right, you're not going anywhere. You know, I can sit down with you, as I had my mentor do. He sat down with me and was like, this is how much you should be charging for this stuff. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God, like, what do you mean? And he's like, what do you mean, what do I mean? Like, so much you should be charging for this shit. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could say that out loud. I guess I'll just try, right? But I had to get myself there. He had to have a whole conversation with me about the value in which we provide. You know, so for people who are going and thinking about like raising their rates or going after clients that maybe they don't feel like are the clients that want them, right? How many people have ever been like, I would love to work with that person, but I don't think they would want to work with me, right? How the fuck do you know? How do you know? Did they tell you I don't want to work with you? No, it's just us, all alone, our little fucking cell, running around, imagining things, coming up with nonsense, right? And you don't know. Here's the shocking part. This is the part that always fucking shocks me, always. Is when you go and you tell the person, and you tell them based on the fact of being like, this is what I'm worth, they're like, okay. You're like, what the fuck was that? Like, how was that, so, like, really, okay?
That's it?
That's it? That was it. So I didn't even have to get you there, I just had to get me there. Right? And if you're on your way, driving in the car to that meeting, and all of these things pop up, well, how do you think you're gonna be when you arrive at that meeting? Right. Do you think that maybe I could do this for you for free in order for you to see how my work is? Prove to somebody how great they were. And was the person happy?
Oh, yeah.
Over fucking joyed, right? They were like, wow, I got all that for free? Amazing. How likely are they to want to pay you after that?
No, because why would they? They got it for free.
No, they got it for free. They'll ask you to do free shit for the rest of your fucking life.
You did this for free.
Because you did it for free, right? And guess what you did? You kicked ass for free. Like, you didn't even just do a free job, like, which would be like, I'll do the free version, right? No, you did like the highest paid version of it, and you gave it to them for free, right? Because it was you. That was all you. It was all your game. right? My mentor says this thing to me, always assume everybody wants to spend money on things. Just assume it. If they don't, then okay, right? They'll tell you, and then you can make the decision on whether or not you want to work with them. But just always assume that people, right? If somebody asks you to do anything, assume they're talking about paying you. Right? Instead we assume like, oh shit, maybe they're asking me to do this for free, which is really very interesting and very strange. Okay, so 30-day plan, right? And as always, this is totally optional. You can do it, you cannot do it. If you want to get to where you want to get to, I would highly recommend doing it, right? It's for you. It's not for me. I actually don't give a shit if you do it or not, right? It's not going to change my, weekend that I'm going to spend with my mom or my dinner that I'm going to have tomorrow night, or it's not, right? But it's going to help you. And who are you doing this for? Why did you guys show up here? For you, right? For you. Okay, so number 1, right? We're going to expand that list, right? This is going to suck. It really is, but that's the reason why we did the trophy. So for some of the people who this is their first time here, maybe go watch the other classes and do that work, right? And expand all that good, so that you're coming to this place of thinking about everything that's holding you back with a lot more power. Right? We're not doing this to beat ourselves up. We're doing it to get fucking rid of it. And if you don't know you have a mouse in your house, how can you get rid of it, right? You have to identify it first. So expand that, sit down. I always tell people, keep a notes thing in your phone, and you're out and you're like bopping around and you're like, oh, I like those shoes. That fucking voice, you can't afford those shoes. You don't even know how to walk in heels. You know what I mean? Like, think about, remember that one time when you bought those expensive shoes and you ruined them afterwards because you just willy-nilly run about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, think about like what that is happening. And when that voice pops up and it tells you that, write it down. Like, aha, I got you. I hear this. Because the goal is one day you've just dealt with all of it, right? And then if you've dealt with all the shit from the past, guess what the only thing you have to deal with is? Anything new that comes up that you fucked up on, right? Like, we're not gonna not fuck up. We just are. But at least you can deal with the new shit all by itself, instead of having dealing with the new shit, which is what happens to people, right? I do something wrong, I mess up a client's hair, I give someone bad advice, I run over a pedestrian, like whatever it might be, right? And then I not only ran over a pedestrian, but then I am dumb, and that one time when I did that other thing to that other person, and then, because I'm stupid and I can't run a business, and right? Like, and then I'm 19 things deep, and then where am I?
You're deep.
My fucking ice cream, sitting there, miserable, right? I know, but eat ice cream when you're fucking happy. Like, be those persons, like, I saw these people down the street, they just got an ice cream at Sprinkles, and it was 3 of them, and they were all like lined up, and they had their ice cream cones, and they were like, their ice cream was like, fucking be happy. Be happy to be eating ice cream, Like, do it on a day like as a celebration, rather than, a way to torture yourself further.
In bed.
Yes, in bed, ice cream, everywhere. Oh my God, can't even imagine. My boyfriend would kill me if I ate anything in bed, like murder me. Let alone like if I got ice cream flecks everywhere. Torture, right? So expand upon this. No, it's not gonna be fun, right? But if you wanna be the person you wanna be, and if you wanna get rich as fuck, which is the whole thing is having everything, right? Getting rich as fuck is not just about having money, not about cash, right? It's everything. It's all of it. It's the whole game of everything you want. And it's not the whole game of like what everybody else around you is telling you you're supposed to have. It's your shit, right? Your whole pie. And if you want to, some of this shit's gonna be difficult because you've been dragging it around for a while, right? So expand on that, right? So number 1, expand your, and I'm going to use the word failures, right? Expand your failures. Have that list, right? Number 2. One by one, each of those things, sit down and reframe them, right? Write a new story. Write a story about how this thing that happened to you when you were 12 turned out to be the best fucking thing that could ever be, right? And if you can't, if it hasn't turned out to be the best thing that has ever happened to you, then make it. Go do something with that. You know, I speak to a group of women that were homeless or lived in shelters, and I tell them my story, right? And it's a story I don't tell people. You know, a lot of people don't know. It's a story of how I grew up in a very abusive household, right? That to me, man, that was a difficult one to reframe. And for a long time, I was like, you can't make sense of that. Until when? Until I got to use my story, right? To have some girl who was sitting in that chair who wasn't gonna fucking believe that I knew anything about where she was, believe me, right? And she was able to be like, oh, you were where I am right now? And look at where you are now? I better listen to this. Right? And I've had the privilege of, because of that experience of like truly changing people's lives, where you give someone hope, right? You give somebody hope, that's a big deal, right? And that hope that I'm able to give has come from the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. Because I didn't sit in it and I didn't wallow in it, I reframed it, right? So reframe it. Go one by one, write a new story, write the story of like the triumph of what it is. And like I said, if you don't have something that makes that better, you don't have a way to rewrite the story, find a way to, right? Find a way to use that as your power. Right? And number 3. Every time that story comes up, every time those things pop up, you need to have the conversation with yourself. No. That's not actually what happened. This is what happened. Talking to yourself is one of the most powerful ways for you to reprogram your mind. The reason why you are in the mess that you are in right now is because you've been letting yourself talk to you. If you tell it the story that you want it to hear and that you want it to live, it will become what it is. But right now, thus far, everybody's just been allowing it to tell you the story, right? It's setting you up to where you want to be instead of you having the power, right? So I'm saying what I said earlier about like, this is you controlling your mind. Like, you control the mind. It's not the other way around. And if you can get to a place where you can be in charge, like you're in charge actually up here instead of fucking something else in charge, like shit won't fuck you up. Things won't faze you. Stuff will happen and you'll be like, nah, right? Or something good, oh, this looks like a big pile of shit, right? Something good is happening from this. I'm gonna use this to my advantage, right? Because you'll be the person in charge instead of allowing it to run you, right? I'll do that now. I'll fuck up like that to get those 3 pieces of information that are gonna help me out later. Hell yes, right? Everything I did wrong in my business, I'm able to go in and tell people when I consult with them and I help them set up companies, okay, so this is what we're not gonna do, right? Because they come to me and they have the same bright eyes that I did. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be amazing. No, we're not. Nope, we're not doing that. That's what we're not doing. Because here's where it's gonna end you up, right? The number of people that I'm able to save them money and heartache and pain and suffering because of what I went through is huge, right? That's really fucking valuable, right? So tell the new story to yourself because you can't make it go away. You know, there's no way that you can undo what's happened in the past, but you can think differently about it, right? And you can think about it from a positive place. And then now, where are we now? Now we're thinking about things from a positive place again, right?
Bam, there we are.
Exactly, right?
I like that place.
Yeah, the positive place. We love it. We all love it. It feels good. It's great, you know? Thank you guys for showing up for yourselves. Always. It's a lot more than a lot of people will do. People who are tuning in, who are watching, watching video, like a lot of people don't even fucking show up for themselves. They have an idea, oh, I want to go. And then they're like, oh, I didn't fucking do that. Right? So good. Like, thank you. It's really important. So we have a little soiree situation where you can, talk with people. This is a great group of people. It's a great group of people to be around. It's a very rare opportunity, I think, in life when you can be around a bunch of other people who are going in the same direction you're going and want to bring you along with them. It's a great community, right? So engage, hang out, and, let's get rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Right?